Hi guys, welcome to Code Decode. So today we will be covering Java 8 new features containing the interview questions on predicate, functions, consumer, supplier, by function, by predicate, by consumer, by supplier, if it is available, streams, parallel streams and many more. If these will be covered if the time permits us. So let me start with it. So the very first question for the predicates and consumers and all are that what is predicates? So predicates is nothing but a predefined functional interface. So till now I'm assuming that you have understood what is functional interface. It is nothing but a interface having only one abstract method, right? And there is no restrictions on the default or the static methods. They can have many. The only abstract method in predicate is test, that is this. Whenever we want to check some boolean condition, then you should go for predicate. So this is the theoretical part. Let me give you the concept behind it. So let me first tell you that we have learned that predicate is nothing but used to check some boolean condition. So while programming, there are multiple conditions where we have to check the conditions. Like say for example, I've given you one string, you have to check the length of that string, whether it is greater than the amount or not. So in normal programming, what we could have done is we just had created a particular object of the current class, and with that current class, in that particular current class, we could have created a particular method which is going to do this task for us. So we are basically delegating this task to another method. That method takes our string and it calculates its length and then return true or false. This is one of the method we could have done this particular thing. But Java 8, the main thing behind Java 8 is to reduce the number of code lines. So this is like 2 lines here and like multiple lines here. To reduce all these just to 2 lines, Java 8 comes into picture. So what Java 8 says, like for boolean checking, like for this s dot length greater than equal to 5 or not, use predicates. So let me take you into predicate. So predicate is nothing but a functional interface. Like I already told you, this is a predefined, if you can see, this is the dot class file into rt.lib. So let me go to the base package. You can see that it is an rt.lib package, which is nothing but see rt.jar, the lib of rt.jar. So this is nothing but a predefined functional interface, and this particular interface is actually present in the particular Java library, existing library, and it takes one argument. It has only one single abstract method, that is test, and it is used to test a particular boolean condition. Then it has multiple, as I've told you, it can have multiple default and static methods, so there is no restriction on it, but all these do have the method or the implementation itself into it, right? So I can say that predicate is nothing but a functional interface, predefined functional interface. It's dot class, it is present in rt.jar. That is why it is a predefined functional interface having only one abstract method. Likewise, it is a predefined function interface, only one abstract method. The only abstract method is present as test, and it is used to check the boolean condition. So now if you understood predicate, let me make you go through the example which we have. So how to write your particular method into a predicate? You don't have to do anything. It's just that you have to remove this. Basically, what I've taught you, like you have to take one single argument. If there is one single argument, just take it without any bracket, single s. And what does it, if condition says s dot length greater than equal to 5, so just put s dot length greater than equal to 5. It will automatically return you true or false into as a return type for you. So if you have the check length, which is a predicate which will be holding your true and false result. So like it was this like whenever we called this particular thing, this was having a true or false. Similarly, check length is nothing but having the true or false result for us. So now when we try to find out whether the length of string is greater than 5 or not, how do we call this predicate? So this is predicate initialization, declaration and implementation. How to call this particular predicate? You have to just use the test method that I've told you here, right? So this is the test method. Just use the predicate name dot test and pass your string. So this string will be passed as s here. So this s is nothing code space decode. it will find the length of it. If it is greater than equal to 5, then it will return you true, else it will return you false. So this println will do the task for us. So let me quickly run this for you. It says true, the length of string is greater than 5, and true. So the true is nothing but the return type of this. So let me comment this first so that you can have only, so that you can have only one single output for you. Let me quickly run this again. So see, it says the length of the string is greater than 5, it returns true. So how do you create a predicate? Nothing but create a predicate reference. This is nothing but a functional interface. So as I've told you, this is the lambda expression. The functional interface reference variable is used to hold your lambda expression. So I've already told you how to convert a function into lambda expression in the previous video. Use a single argument s with a particular arrow, which is the lambda, which is used for lambda expressions. Then the if condition, and it will automatically return true or false in this particular variable, the reference variable of predicate. And the input type is string, because we are passing it as a string and we are fetching the result, which is always true or false, that is boolean. So, and how to call it? Using the test method. So on this predicate you can always call the test method. So if I go into it, it will take you to this. So if this much is clear, let me give you another. Like suppose I've removed decode, then code's length is only 4, so it should give me false. So does this satisfy? Yes, it satisfies our code completely. So this was all about predicate. So once again, predicate is a predefined functional interface having only one abstract method. The only abstract method is test. Whenever we want to check some boolean condition, we want to test whether the length of the string is greater than or equal to 5 or not, then you can go for predicate. Then the next question can arise is how to use predicates. So if you want to test anything which is a boolean condition which returns true or false, then in such situations you need to use the test condition, use the test method of the predicate interface. Now, what are the type parameters and return types of predicate? We can say that the predicate is actually nothing but a generic type, but it takes only one argument, which is the input type. Whether you are giving that a string and then checking a condition on it, whether you are giving an integer, checking a condition, or whether you are giving a custom class, say suppose employee, checking the condition that whether the employee's ID is greater than 5 or not, something like that. Whenever you have to perform boolean condition, boolean checking, use predicate, which takes a single input argument and always returns you boolean. Therefore there is no two arguments. T comma r is not here like we do have in functions. I'll cover that in single minute. So this is why it takes only one single argument and no return type, because return type is always boolean for predicate. So remember this in interview, they might try to trick you, like what is the return type? So it's always boolean. Okay, let me quickly move ahead to advantages of predicate. So I always used to thought like if things could have been done even with the try functionality, right? So if I says if greater than this question mark, return true, else return false, it could have been done in one line. So what is the use of this particular predicate? Why do we need it? So the only use for predicates or everything which is introduced in Java 8 regarding what we have covered till now is only and only code reusability and number of code line reduction. So this is the advantage of predicate. So how, like I was thinking, how do we achieve the code reusability? So it says that if in particular point I have this predicate and I have declared what my predicate do, it takes a string and returns whether the length is greater than 5 or not. Now I have used it here using this dot test. Now in some another program or some another way, some another class, what I can do is I can always call this particular variable and I can use the test method and give my own variable or the string, and I can test whether this particular string that I've given is actually having the length greater than or equal to 5 or not. So this is code reusability. We're defining here, but you can use anywhere. So it's only one time declaration. You can always use this and call the test method on this particular functional interface reference and give your own code here. So this is the code reusability. If you have same condition being used 100 times in your program, then you write once. You have already written the test, the check length reference variable once, but you can use 100 times with this particular line, like check length dot test, and give different strings to it. So this is how you can achieve advantage of predicates. So basically, I've already told you this, the conditional checks are held by functional interfaces. Now, this is a very important question. Please mind this very carefully, because this is a very favorite questions of interviews. Like, what is predicate joining? So we know now what is predicate. We now know how to use predicates. How can we use code reusability using predicates? But what is predicate joining? So predicate joining is nothing but, in case if you have 5 or 6 predicates, now you want to aggregate these predicates and give a single result. Then there are 3 ways to join your predicates. It's AND, or negate. Example, if you want to test 2 conditions, for example, while checking the length of my given string is greater than or equal to 5 or not, also check whether this length of the string is even or not. So what I could have done, I would have used 2, just a second, I'll give you an example. Predicate joining. So I have one predicate here, it's check length. Okay, so check length says, this predicate says, give me a string and I will tell you whether the length is greater than or equal to 5 or not. Then I have one more predicate defined and declared and initialized as check length is even or not. So it takes a string and then it gives you the result if it is percentile equal to 2 equals to 0. That means it is an even length, or if it is not, then it is an odd length. So these are 2 different predicates. Now if I will do I'll provide one code decode here, then it will give me the result only for check length. If I put check even length, then I can test code decode only for one condition, whether it is percentile 2 or not. Now if I have suppose multiple, like suppose 100 of these, then what would have been done, right, rather than using and avoiding this particular and conditions like here? What rather than that I could have been doing? I could have joined my predicates. So how do you join it? So I say that check length is one of my predicate, check even length is another of my predicate. So I want that both should be combined with an AND operator. So I did check length dot end, and now you have to test code decode. So it says, does the code decode length is greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. Does the percentile equals to 0 or not? Let's see. Let me just run this for you. So it says length of the string is greater than 5 is true. Length of the string is even, false. So after merging these 2 conditions of greater than and evenness, it says false, because one is true, one is false, and AND of true and false is always false. Similarly, I could have done using the OR. I could have merged my 2 predicates using OR. So if it is, this says true, this says false. So what will be the output of OR? It will be true. So see, the output is true. Now after merging with negate, so negate takes only one argument. So you can negate only one single predicate. So if I want that check length, if it is greater than 5, then I want result as false. So currently it says check length result is true. Then after negating my check length and testing code decode, it should return me false. So is it returning false? Yes, it is returning you false. So this is as simple as that. If you want this particular code or everything that I've created for you demo, please let me know in the comment section. Then only I'll upload it to the GitLab repository. From there you can clone it and you can use it for your demo purpose, just for a reference. Or if this is clear, you can always code with me and you can have a view with that. So this was all about predicate joining. The 3 ways we have joined our predicates, 2 different predicates. We can have multiple predicates too. We could have done dot end and similarly like that. So the 3 ways was AND, OR and negate. Negate is, remember, negate always works with only one predicate. So this can be a point in an interview question, that negate works with only one particular predicate, but OR and AND takes multiple, like 2, minimum 2 of the predicates. So if that is clear, let me quickly move ahead. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section if I'm getting too much fast. So now the next question that may arise is, what are the functions? So function is nothing but it is also a predefined functional interface. And what is predefined functional interface? Nothing but having one abstract method. So let me first give you an example of it. Then only I'll move ahead. So I'll give you a function example. So as I've told you, function is again a dot class in the rt.jar file. It is a predefined functional interface. It is basically a functional interface because it has only one abstract method and there is no restrictions on n number of default and static methods. Default and static methods are nothing but methods which are having some particular implementation being, though it is being in an interface. This is a enhancement came in Java 8. I've already covered all this. I'm not going to cover it here. Okay, so now we have seen what is the function. It is a predefined function interface having only one abstract method. We have seen that one abstract method is nothing but apply, r.apply. Now, given why do we need functions if we have predicates? So functions, if we have given some input, please perform some operation on that input and then produce some result, not necessarily a boolean value. In predicate, what we used to generate, we always used to perform operation on the given input and then always produce a true or false, a boolean result. But what if I don't want to just have the result is true or false? I want a proper result. Like suppose I've given you an 5, I want 5 into 5. Multiply that particular number with itself. So I need some integer result. I don't want boolean. Then in that case, functions came into picture. So basically functions take one input and return only one output. In predicates, we can use one input but return type is always boolean. But in functions, the return type is not always boolean. It can be anything. The return type is not fixed. Hence, this is the reason we have to declare both the input type and return type. Okay. So I'll give you one example before moving further. I'm going to close others. Okay, so this is my function example. How, like the predicate, what we used to have in predicate, I'll give you one example here also. Predicate, we have to take only one input, that is string. Here we are taking two things. What is it? It's one is integer, another is integer. So this is input, this is output. So it says square me. So it says if I'm giving you I, please return me I into I. If predicates if functions would have not been there in the picture, what we could have been doing, we could have been creating a particular instance of the same class, and with that we are going to call a method. What this method used to have, the 3 line of code where I'm going to have a square value which is holding I into I, and then I'm returning that, or you can return I into I directly. So anyways, it will be 2 line plus 2 line 4 line. So anyways, we have to reduce it. So that's the only purpose of Java 8, to reduce the line, to increase the optimization. What we are going to do, create a function, define the argument, which is the input argument and the return type. So input argument is integer. The I is going to be an integer. 5, which is int, is going to be converted into integer internally by the compiler. It's going to provide some arithmetic operation. So again, 5 integer will be converted into int, because arithmetic operations will always be performed in the primitive type. So 5 into 5 will be done, and the return type will be again converted into integer, and the square of 5 will come as 25. So let me quickly run this for you. The square of 5 is 25. Very simple. Predicate, where to use predicate? This is a predefined functional interface, completely optimized performance wise. Where are you going to use the predicates? Where you have some boolean condition. Where are you going to use the functions? Where you have some input, you want some output which is not necessarily a boolean value. You have to perform an operation on that input, give you some output, then the result should be having a particular data type that should be defined here in the generic type. So this is how the function works. It is a predefined one. It has an apply method. Okay, so I forgot to tell you how to call that particular function. So if I have function square me, how to call it? Use the apply method. So what is this apply method? I've already told you this apply method. It is nothing but a single abstract method of a functional interface called function, and the method is called as apply. It takes the argument, which is a type argument, and it returns, which is nothing but a return type. So if you can see here, this particular single expression is completely defining what the function do. The method name is apply. It takes your type argument and returns a return type. So that is why we always denote it with two variables in the generic type. This is the input type T, this is the return type R. This is the input type T, this is return type R. So this is, if this much is clear, let me quickly move ahead. Now the question arises, what is the difference between predicate and function? So as I've already told you, predicate always returns a boolean value. It is used for conditional check, but function always returns an object which is used to perform operations and return the result. It is written in the form of predicate T, which takes a single input argument, which is the input type, while the function takes T, R. It accepts single argument, but return type is not always boolean. It's not by default generated. So you have to define what type of object is actually returned by a function. So that is R. So function T, R. Thirdly, the predicate contains one single abstract method. Name of that method is test. And the name of the single abstract method present in function is apply. Remember this. The interviewer may ask you, how do you actually use the created or the if you have created a predicate, if you created a function, how to use that particular function or the predicate. So using the test method and apply method, you can use those predicates and functions that you have created. If you have any query here, please let me know in the comment section. I'll be very happy to create another video only on predicates and functions again. So if this much is clear, and yes, very important thing, predicates and the function interfaces are present both in java.util function package. Okay. Now again, a very important part of it, what is functional chaining? Like I have told you, what is predicate joining? Similarly, we have functional chaining. So what happens if I have 10 or even hundreds of functions? I'm not going to apply and operator in doing the same operations again and again. We can actually chain multiple functions together using two ways. Remember, there are two ways for functional chaining. And remember, this is a very important interview question. They for sure may ask you what is functional chaining. So I'll show you how. I'll demonstrate with the code. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. Let me show you how we can chain the functions. We can chain the function using end, then, and compose method. So let me first show you the demonstration of it so that you are happily aware of it. So this is the functional chaining. So like it, I have two functions. I have a double it function. What this function do? It takes integer I. It returns you the integer again after multiplying it with 2. So the double function says apply me with 2. So when I apply with 2, the return value of it should be 4. And if I have qubit function, the qubit function is again a function interface reference. What it says that please give me one input I, and I will return the cube of it. So it's I into I into I. So whenever I take the qubit and apply it with 2, the return will be 2 into 2 into 2. This is 8. So first I'm going to apply this particular functional chaining using end then method and then compose method. So what end then method will do, it will first apply double it and then it will apply cube. And on what particular thing, it will apply first double it with 2 and then it will cube it. And what will compose do, it will first apply cube and then double it. So there will be a difference in the result. So let me show you the different results. It says double function gives you 4, cube functions give you 8. Now first using apply method, it gives you 64. But if you're using compose, it will give you 16. Why? Because double has first doubled it. So 2 into 2, it's 4 and then cube it. So cubing the 4 will give you 4 into 4 into 4, which is 64. Now if you have applied compose what will do? It will apply cube it first. So 2 into 2 into 2, it's 8, and now double it, so it is 16. So that is why the result is 16. So if this much is clear, let me quickly go ahead. So the multiply functions can be chained together also, and the chaining can be done using end then and compose. In end then, first F1 is applied, then F2, there first doubling is done, then cubing is done. But in compose, first F2 is done, then Fn. So first cubing is done, 2 into 2 into 2, 8, and then doubling is done. So 8 into 2 is 16. That is why you will get different results. But yeah, I understand that it's of no use. You could have used F2 here and F1 here, then and use then the output will be same as compose. But the Java people have given us some flexibility to use this also. So end then and compose are the two ways for functional chaining in Java 8. Multiple functions can be chained together, so it's not just two that I've given you an example. You can have hundreds of functions multiply and then you have given an input to it. So yes, and then and compose also. So if that much is clear, I do have consumer supplier, but time doesn't permit me. So let me know in the comment section if you need these also. I'll make a separate video on consumers and suppliers by consumer stream and parallel streams. Thank you.